welcome back. You're watching Overdrive on Track. Now we still have 3 races to go until we end this 2013 Formula 1 season, but the focus of the teams has already shifted onto building the cars for the 2014 season. And you can't really blame them because the changes that are in store for the 2014 season are the biggest the sport has ever seen. So here's a quick look at all the changes coming up next year. 2014 will mark the end of an era in Formula 1. An era of naturally aspirated V8s. Not only will the engines be downsized from the 2.4-litre V8s to 1.6-litre V6s, there will be an introduction of turbochargers and direct injection. Turbo engines have been used in Formula 1 once before from 1983 to 1988, but were consequently banned because there was too much power to control. But this time around, emphasis is on efficiency rather than power, and downsizing the engines is a move to lure in more manufacturers into the sport.
Next year's car is a radical departure from all of the cars in the pit lane. We, as you may know, have a new powertrain. So we've got a downsized, turbocharged, direct injection, a lot more energy recovery systems, so these are hybrid systems. So a lot of challenge for our engine partners. And to go with those is a completely new set of aerodynamic regulations. So we've really got a big challenge, all the teams do, and we've been working now for quite a few months on that car.
I think it's good for Formula 1 to see today 35% of the fuel will be saved next year in the race, and it's a good challenge for the engineers, for the car manufacturer who are behind the engine supplies, and I think it's, at the end it's all about racing, and it's going to be racing again.
The fuel limit has been reduced for next year by 60 kgs, and as a result we can expect teams to adopt some interesting strategies during the racing weekends.
If you burn up too much fuel at the start of the race, you'll have no chance towards the end. Whereas if you can conserve fuel at the start of the race, you could potentially have 175 horsepower more than your competitors towards the end. So I think we could see a situation where you'll have drivers in the first half of the race, maybe in 4th, 5th position, not really making much progress. But then they've saved up so much fuel and energy that in the last, say, 10 laps, they could possibly go from 5th to 1st.
We have less fuel on board, but the same distance to do. So it's going to be a very different racing, maybe a little bit more like an endurance race. You will not be able to go flat out the whole time, but this will be a fuel management and very challenging, but we have to adapt it, and still in qualifying I believe we can go flat out and get out the most what's in the car.
I think it's going to be a new era for Formula 1, very different, and as a Formula 1 driver, as a Formula 1 team, you have to adapt yourself to a new regulation change. So that's the most important, that we try to do it better than others as a team, and hopefully we can really succeed on that.
While all teams will start from scratch building new powertrains and cars around the new regulations next year, Mercedes and Renault, owing to their existing road car divisions and engine technology for the same, will have an advantage in the engine department over Ferrari, who don't have a V6 engine in their road car lineup. Both Mercedes and Renault also have some experience with hybrid powertrains, which will be an added advantage for building Earth systems. The smart ones though could be Honda, who are spending a year on the sidelines testing away without having the distraction of racing a current engine before arriving in 2015 with McLaren. Other significant changes include converting the twin exhaust to a single tailpipe of fixed dimensions, which will take away the blown floor effect. The nose wing is to be made narrower and lower for safety under impact. The lower beam on the rear wing will also be banned, which will result in lower downforce. The power unit will be much more integrated into the design and will play a larger part in vehicular dynamics. With all these changes, Formula 1 will not only usher in a new era, but a whole new philosophy of efficiency and restraint, something that will take F1 enthusiasts some getting used to. However, regardless of the powertrain, all teams will have to build new chassis, which means a huge added development cost. The cost has reignited the debate for the concept of customer cars, which allows smaller teams to buy the chassis from bigger teams like Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren and Mercedes, which saves them $60 million of R&D cost.
Customer cars does not really help, because if you have only Ferraris, McLarens or Mercedes running around, nobody else will come. So I don't think this is a good idea, because the Williams and the other Saubers, whoever, and Force India, they want to continue to race. I think this is the right way to go.
We are absolutely against customer cars, because we think that it would totally, as it's been said, change the DNA of Formula One. Formula One is about constructors. That's a very important definition in our rules, and that's what makes the charm of Formula One, that you have to fulfill these requirements. You can definitely tweak a bit on the definition, but I feel the fans out there like this diversity, that a small team can sometimes get that odd chance to be in front over there, and this is what people like to see.
Sahara, Force India, as I have publicly stated before, are totally opposed to the customer car concept, because the smaller non-manufacturer teams cannot just simply disappear.
I think in the short term it could have some benefit. I personally, if I were responsible for Formula 1, I wouldn't do it, because I think in the long run it will damage the teams. I think one of the unique aspects of Formula 1 has been over the years that to be a competitor you must be a unique constructor. You've got all different cars, and I think that's a feature of Formula 1. There are many spec formula where everyone's racing with the same cars, and the truth is they don't create the interest in the public, they don't create the spectacle that Formula 1 is. So I think we need the diversity, and we've got to find a way by which the small teams can afford to stay in the sport and don't have to become customer car teams.
If you really wanted to take out a huge amount of cost, then the customer car is one way of looking at it, but I think there are also other ways in terms of stability of regulations, and of course maybe allowing more other components to change between the teams. If you sell a team a gearbox like we do to Caterham, why not sell them the suspension as well?
One of the most interesting changes to look forward to in the next season is the driver pairings. Infiniti Red Bull Racing Team have a fierce driver pairing in the newly crowned four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel and the young talented Aussie Daniel Ricciardo from the Red Bull Young Drivers program, who is also currently racing for another Red Bull outfit, Toro Rosso. Ferrari have an interesting time ahead as 2007 world champion Kimi Raikkonen joins double world champion Fernando Alonso for next season. This is expected to be quite an explosive pairing. The lineups for Mercedes and McLaren remain unchanged for 2014, while the rest of the teams are yet to announce their driver pairings for next season. Time for a quick break here on Overdrive on Track, but coming up on the other side, we tell you what's in store for the Buddh International Circuit for the year 2014 and beyond.